Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 224, and it is October 14th, 2014. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. This is where we talk about knitting. Okay, we've both been heavy into Spinzilla.
We have, so it's not a normal week for us.
Right. If spinning bores you, this is probably not the episode to watch. Although there are some really pretty things to look at least.
And there's a wee bit of knitting at the front end.
Yeah.
So we'll go into Spinzilla and what Spinzilla is and what we accomplished as a team, although we won't find out until next Monday after... Actually, we might... We're recording late next week.
Yeah, because I won't get back from Rhinebeck until Monday-ish afternoon sometime.
So we should know next Monday if we were the champions of the world.
Or if it's another wah, wah, wah.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Although I will say, if we don't win, it is definitely not for lack of wanting for some of our people.
And lack of effort, because people really blew it away.
Seriously. I spun every minute I had time, and I still only got 7,000 yards. And then we have people who got 10, 13, 17,000 yards. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I envy those people.
In the awesome way.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me want more production spinning wheels.
But anyway, we're talking about spinning where we shouldn't.
Yeah. So, I am knitting on a pair of socks out of Dream in Color Everlasting. They have a new Everlasting base. So if you go to your local yarn shop and they have Everlasting, you might want to ask them if it's the new base or the old base. But this is the new base, and I don't have... Okay, the sock blockers are all packed. I still haven't unpacked some stuff from SSK, including my sock blockers. They're sitting in a bin. Anyway, so this is my sock. I am knitting using fingering weights. Dream in Color Everlasting is a 9-ply yarn. Mm-hmm. It's all 100% superwash wool. And the lovely people over at Dream in Color sent this to us. And I have alpaca because I was spinning it earlier, so it's everywhere. But anyway, this is the Wilderness colorway. And I'm trying out some new needles as well. These are the Knitter's Pride Nova Platina. I like my sock rockets better. It's a personal preference thing. And it's really comparing apples to oranges because I love 2 16-inch needles, but I've not gotten 2 16-inch needles in the sock rockets yet. Mm-hmm. Because I have the magic loop sizes. So on this, I wish I had some sock rockets with me. I bet you I could find some. The 16-inch Nova Platinas, they've kind of got a short tip. It's around a 3 to 4-inch tip. I do have my bob tape measure, so I can tell you exactly how long they are. So they are a 3.5-inch tip. 3 to 4 inches. So it's a little bit short on my hands. They are nice and light, though. And the join's really nice, and they are fairly inexpensive. I got mine from Webb's, and I think they were $8 a set, a pair. So, they're working. I mean, there's nothing bad about them. I just like the sock rockets a little bit better because of the longer needle and tip, and I think the sock rockets are a little bit pointier. The yarn is fabulous, and actually I had to rip out this whole heel flap and reknit it because I got to 1.5 inches in the heel flap and realized that I was working it. So there's 64 stitches total on the sock, and I'm knitting on size 1 needles. And I got halfway through the heel flap and realized there were 48 stitches on one side and very few other ones on the other one. So I was working my heel flap a little bit funky. So I ripped that out. The stitches were super easy to pick up. I was a little bit worried about splitting a ply with it being 9 plies. Not the case whatsoever. Stood up great to the ripping out. And I just went from, so the way I knit this sock is I started with a 1x1 rib and went to a 3x1 rib and then went to straight stockinette. I did the Balbriggan heel from Sock Architecture, which is a really interesting heel construction. Basically, it's a top-down heel flap construction, and then you do decreases at 4 different points You can kind of see that. And there's no short rows involved in this heel. You take the two, this is a graft right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Kitchenered at the bottom. And it's got very little gusset, because then you pick up, and because those are grafted, there's no live stitches. So you're just picking up the heel flap and like one stitch in the middle. And so you're only, I think I picked up 40 total stitches, so I just had to decrease back to 32, which
cool.
is a very small gusset. So we'll see how it fits. I'm going to wait till I'm done. And I'm also going to try a different toe for myself with it too. Because why not? So I do have a few more ends to weave in because of that grafting, but not a big deal. And I'm interested to see how I like a graft on the bottom of my heel.
Well, theoretically, you shouldn't even feel it, right? I mean, you might feel where you've picked up, because then you have an edge, but the graft should be pretty seamless.
Yep. So we'll see. Great book, sock architecture, and very clear directions. A little bit of math to do, but it wasn't too bad. And that's the only thing that I'm working on currently.
Oh.
I've got tons of other works in progress around here, but this was the only thing.
Yeah.
I really just knit yesterday and today.
So, we traveled last week to Harveyville, Kansas.
Yeah.
We talked about that when we recorded. And, man, it was so easy to edit that video. We were both in one place on one camera. Anyway, so I knit a test knit for a friend of mine on the way out there. I can't show you yet. I'll show you when the pattern comes out. And then after that, I just knit on these socks. The BFL sock from Yarn vs. Zombies, the bite back base. And this is the sunrise color. I didn't get a ton of progress because it was boring. And while we were at yarn school, I was only spinning. Traveling back took all day, and I was on completely full flights the whole time. And I'm getting size-wise big enough to take up the whole seat. Like, if I gain another 20 pounds, I'm going to have to buy 2 seats or just only travel with somebody who doesn't mind my leg fat going over into their side. So anyway, it wasn't real conducive to spreading out and knitting, because then your elbow's kind of in your neighbor's face. So I mostly read and watched movies when I was traveling, so I didn't get a ton of work done on this. And then as soon as I got home, it was balls to the wall spinning time. So
Yep.
But last night, I cast on with My Everlasting DK by Dream in Color. I do not know the colorway name. It's upstairs. I will put it in the show notes. But I'm really happy with it. It's a really beautiful color. It's like
ooh, that is
oceany, I guess. So I'm
showing some great stitch definition.
Yes, I'm knitting on Zuzu's Petals, which is by Karina Spencer. It is like a cowlette, I guess. So it's like a cowl that's drapey, and it's got a triangle shape. I've seen several of my friends knit it, and it always turns out really lovely. So it's been on my list.
It's a great project for hand spun, especially gradient hand spun.
Yeah. And it's knit, or it's written for either sport or worsted. And even though this is a DK weight, I'm using the worsted directions. I am into the lace of it. I'm about halfway through the chart. It's really quick knit. I have screwed it up several times because I wasn't paying attention, but like Laura said, I'm pretty impressed with this yarn. As I was knitting it earlier, I was looking at the stitch definition and how just really beautiful and even the stitches are, and I can definitely see myself knitting a sweater out of this, because it holds up really well. It seems to hold up really well. More information as I actually use it, and can tell you that for sure. It does hold up to ripping quite well. And as Laura mentioned, it's a 9-ply, so if you untwist it a little bit, you can see all the individual, they're like as thin as threads or thinner. But I didn't actually have a problem with it. The way that I tension my yarn in my right hand, I tend to have a strong grip on it. So sometimes I can add more twist to it because I'm not allowing the yarn to, gently rest through your fingers.
Okay.
But that's a problem I have with anything that's more than a 3-ply yarn. Woolmiza especially is one that I tend to add a lot of curl to it. But as long as I let it loose, and then the twist goes back where it's supposed to. So, because I
think that was the only one. Okay.
So, like I said, I'm really happy with this. I expect that I will take this to Rhinebeck if I'm not done with it, but I'm actually really enjoying knitting it, so I'll probably have it done.
It's very pretty.
Maybe I'll wear it to Rhinebeck. We'll see if it's cool enough. It hasn't been any year that I've been, but who knows?
I think it's supposed to be in the 70s.
Yeah, that's what the forecast has been saying, but there was one this afternoon that Melissa sent me that said that the high was going to be 64, and I was like, that's more like it. Still, it could go down another 10 degrees and I would be happy, but anyway, that's the only knitting that I've done this week, is maybe 6 rows on the socks and all of this, but that's maybe 100 yards.
Okay.
And that's it.
So, like Leslie and I were saying earlier, we both competed in Spinzilla. We sponsored a team. Spinzilla is an event put on by TNNA, and the proceeds from it go to their education fund.
TNNA is the National Needleworks Association?
Yeah.
Needle Arts Association, sorry.
Mm-hmm. And so it's a competition. You're on it's a competition.
Really?
You're on teams of 25. So we had 25 wonderful spinners, 23 not including the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it is a production spinning competition. Mm-hmm. It is a competition to see who can get the most yardage.
Collectively as a team.
Collectively as a team in the smallest, over the span of a week.
Right.
In the smallest imaginable time ever. Yeah. So, which is good. It's good that it only a week is my limit.
There's a time warp. It seems like a week's not a lot, but by day 6, when you are just sick to death of fiber and looking at your spinning wheel and eating fast food because you can't take time to cook something because you need to spin, yeah, then it seems like it's been going on for a long time. Anyway.
So, we'll do what we spun, and then we can do lessons from Spinzilla at the end. How about that? So I still have one thing on the bobbin, and it is some border Leicester. Leslie's been after me today to wind this off to figure out how many yards I have.
Because you have to submit it by tonight, right?
Shut up. So,
if I don't get credit for your yards because you haven't counted them, I will come down there and kick your ass.
That's almost worth it, so you come here. So I have probably, I'm going to say around 400 yards on here. I'm actually spinning the second half, and then I'll fly them together, and I only get to count what's on here,
what
not
you've
the
already
flying,
spun,
and not the other singles, but it'll get done. I learned from this, and we'll just do learning as we go. I learned from this that these were bats that I made that look like this. Woo! I'm losing part. My drum carder out of some border Leicester that I processed myself that was extremely dirty, and was uncoated, which means that the sheep was not put in a nice little jacket to keep it nice and clean. And as I was spinning it, I'm constantly picking up veg matter. And so that was not a good move for me. And that's why only one bobbin got spun. Because I felt like I was taking a lot of time to pick out veg matter, and I did not want to do that. So that was the first. That's what's still on the bobbin.
So veg matter, for people that don't spin, you want to explain what that is?
So sheep don't care that you want their fleece. Like, nope. They don't care. They're like, oh, look, there's some poop. Let's roll on that. Oh, I like to eat hay and roll in it. Oh, there's some sawdust.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some brambles that I can run through. Oh, look, a fence that I can rub up against. Like, they don't care. So veg matter is it's short for vegetable matter. Some people shorten it, abbreviate it further to VM. And it's just all the junk that the sheep get in their wool. And a lot of times, you have to be careful because they can actually run through, brambles. And those are pointy and not fun. So anyone who's knit with Noro is probably familiar with the term veg matter. That's that stuff. Alright, so I made nice little cards for all my stuff. So, and sometimes I even attach them when they're dry. So, the very first thing I spun is this. It is Into the World Shetland. It was the last club that came. So the August club. And this was spun from the fold, which means that I took a bit of roving. This is not, or that's not roving. A bit of top. And I folded it over my finger like that. And I spun, and it created this little cyclone. Like when it pulls down, it creates a cyclone of fiber. And instead of being all aligned like the fibers normally are in top, they're all kind of like kindergarten children marching in the straight line, holding hands. Instead of that, it got all jumbled and crazy like my teenagers on a daily basis. So that created more of a woolen type effect. And so I got a very lofty 2-ply, and this was 390 yards, and in Spinzilla terms, that's 1,170 yards. So that was the first thing I spun. Then I spun some Cordell from Hello Yarn. I cannot remember the name of it. I got this in an update. It is very much overspun. There's lots of extra twists in it, so it'll be great for weaving, according to Mama Linneman. I actually had all these, I had soaked them and popped them and had them all hanging from my shower in my guest bathroom, and Mama Linneman came over to do something the other day, and she was like, I want this one and this one. And I was like, don't take them. I need to take pictures.
So you have time to soak all of your wool, but not count your singles.
Yep, that's totally true, because I wanted it to look pretty on the podcast. They're like my little beauty queens. Mm-hmm. So this is 360 yards. This was also spun long draw from the folds as a 2-ply. And so in Spinzilla yards, it's 1,080. And then this stuff is not the driest ever. This is, let me do this in order. So this is Shetland from Hello Yarn. It is a club from June or July. I think it's Widdershins, I think was the colorway. It was also spun from the folds, 2-ply. 400 yards equals 1,200 Spinzilla yards.
I like that one.
Thank you. I actually went to go look. It's still a little bit damp, to see if she had... It's been raining here for 3 days, so everything's still not dried. I went to see if she had more on the site that I could purchase, and she did not. I also spun some Tempted Shetland from her club. This was something like Falling for You.
Oh my gosh, that came out so much lighter than I would have expected.
So, well, I have bright light shining on it, too.
Well, no, but, like, I don't know, maybe mine is hidden in the braid. Mine doesn't have any of the gold.
Oh, but it's hidden. Yeah, once you strip it out.
Oh, okay.
It's spun from the fold, too. It's super woolen, super lofty and bouncy. 306 yards of a 2-ply equals 918 Spinzilla yards. And actually, I'm thinking about doing something with both of these. There's a little bit of a difference, but woolen spun tends to expand out and kind of fill up any gaps, so that will work out well. And then I spun some South Down on the mini spinner from the folds. This is the perfect way to spin South Down, because I've had problems with South Down in the past, and this time it was super awesome. So South Down is a braided sheath. This is 4 ounces. It's got super short fibers. And this was 2-ply of a long draw. I did not spin this from the fold, actually. I just long drawed this, but it worked out fine. And it was 432 yards of a 2-ply, or 1,296 Spinzilla yards. That's from Hello Yarn. Then I have what's in my lap. 221B, which is an Into the World Club colorway.
Yeah.
It is on Cordell. Spun worsted from the folds. 432 yards of a 2-ply. 1,296 yards Spinzilla. Yeah, I really like this one. This one wanted to be spun super skinny. So, that'll be perfect for like a shawl or something. Like a hitchhiker, I'm thinking. I really like that. I almost actually asked you to pick up more of that from the Into the World, too. Because I need more stuff.
You do. It's clear.
This one, I had 45 minutes left before Spinzilla ended. So it was like 11:15. So I spun the purple part of this. I did not spin the gray, and I'm not counting the gray. I spun the gray today and then plied it so I could figure out my yardage of my singles. So altogether, this was 190 yards of a 2-ply at some random alpaca bats that someone gave me at SSK a couple years ago. And I spun woolen, long draw, just tore them into strips and went to town. And this is 190 yards of a 2-ply. So only 190 yards of this will count. So there's that. And then, oh, crud. I just dropped everything to the floor, but what I haven't done, which is fine. Then I have a natural Romney. I got roving, actual roving, not top, from one of the teachers at yarn school. She had them in 2-ounce bundles, so I got 6 ounces. This is a 3-ply, excuse me. So I spun each 2-ounce bump of roving into its own bobbin and then plied it together. This is what broke the mini spinner. And yeah. And so this is 6 ounces of a 3-ply, 280 yards equals 1,120 Spinzilla yards. And I really like it. It came out nice. Lynn and I both overheated our mini spinners on Sunday, and they quit working for a period of around an hour. Because when you're flying for 8 hours straight and going to town very quickly, like, so the mini spinner's got a knob, and it kind of starts at 6 o'clock, and then you continually turn it up to make it go faster.
No, it doesn't start at 6 o'clock. Yeah, it does. You're right. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Because you, like, spin or treadle, like, your flyer is always going 3 times faster than mine. Always.
So typically when I fly, I keep it at like 1 or 2. I had it popped up to 4. So that's probably why it overheated after 8 hours.
Which is almost the maximum. Like, if you think of a clock, and 6 being the starting point, 4 is almost the maximum speed it can go.
Anyway, so there's Romney, and then last but not least, I had to apply this on the sidekick because the mini stopped working. This is Leading Men, Fiber Arts. You spun this too. Not this time though. This is that somewhere.
Yeah, I spun that for a giveaway.
So it was spun end to end. I just divided it in half in the middle. Not stripping it parallel, like vertically, but just ripping it horizontally at the halfway point. 2 ounces on one, 2 ounces on the other. And it is 462 yards of a 2-ply. I spun it worsted. It was the last real thing that I spun besides the quick bat. And it's 1,386 Spinzilla yards. So that is it for me for Spinzilla. This is my favorite.
It's very nice.
Thank you. And I have enough to spin for a sweater's worth. And I was a little bit worried about that because it's kind of bright in the braid.
Yeah, who cares though? Make it like a less is more style. Like, who cares?
Well, I have like 10 braids in my house.
Jesus, woman.
Well, they were all left over from SSK.
Oh, okay.
And I don't feel right selling them because Steve
Yeah.
So I have some to send to you too.
Because I need more fiber.
You do. You need. We both could have that somewhere sweater.
We could.
I love it.
Okay.
Anyway, so that is all my Spinzilla spinning. I actually have some flying to do from stuff that I spun at yarn school, but I will show that next week after it is plied because I'm not giving up on the spinning, even though I've been spinning for like a week. I probably put in 60 hours.
I don't know that. I had to work, all week. I did work from home 2 days, but it's still like. I maybe got an hour of spinning in during work time, so it wasn't super beneficial.
5 hours a night, so I came home at 3:30, and I spun until 10, so that's more than 5 hours a night, and did that every single night, and then spun around 12 hours each weekend day. So
Yeah, I took a nap on Saturday, a 3-hour nap.
It's fine.
So if we lose by like 200 yards, that's on me.
I think I made up for your nap. So I was going to go into town really, really fast.
All right, so mine will go...
For Spinzilla.
Do what?
So what did you spend for Spinzilla?
Mine will go a lot faster because I really only spun 3 individual like things. And I'm going backwards. So this is the last thing I spun. This is Romney from my fleece I got at Maryland Sheep and Wool that Laura and I split. I just did a sampler of it because I figured I could go ahead and sample it and wash the skein and knit a swatch. I wanted to do this long draw, but it just really didn't want to be long drawn, whatever. So I ended up doing a worsted style spinning. I do like how it came out, but I really, really wish that it would wanted to be long draw. I did a chain ply because I only wanted to fill one bobbin because it was Sunday night and I was running out of time. So I did a chain ply and got 100 yards, so that's 300?
300.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, no.
400.
400.
Yeah. So I got 400 Spinzilla yards for that. Then, going backwards from that, earlier on Sunday, I did this, which is Into the World in the Cyborg Dandelion colorway. I did a 3-ply, and
That's gorgeous.
it turned out really nicely. I'm very happy with it. I got 240 yards, so that's, I don't know, a lot.
What are you going to use it for? Are you going to do, like, some socks out of it?
I don't know. My goal was just to spin. And I asked you and Lynn and Jess what to spin, and you said BFL, so this was the prettiest thing.
I did not say BFL.
Well,
Lynn
somebody
said
did.
BFL.
Anyway, so...
I said Shetland from long draw from the folds, and you did not listen to me.
Yeah, well, I have been long drawing for a week. I did not long draw. This is worsted. And then what I spent the majority of my week doing, and then all of Saturday plying, was my sweater spin. So I'm only going to grab a few of these. I have 7 total skeins.
Which is awesome.
And what I did, which is something Laura thought up a while back, was to use these Tyvek. Basically, I have supplies at my house for mailing stuff out. Not that I ever mail anything out anymore, but I have those Tyvek priority mail envelopes.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes use one and just cut it up.
Yeah, cut it into strips.
I cut it into strips and make sure that on the end I have the sticky part.
Yeah.
Because Tyvek can get wet and it won't hurt it. So
that is what roller coaster wristbands.
Right. Yeah, like
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like I'm saying yeah a lot this week. Sorry about that. So this was the Cordell fleece that Laura and I got at Maryland and split. And I had roughly a little over 3 pounds to start with. And after I processed it, I had almost 2 full pounds. So I got a lot more than I thought I got initially when I talked about it. I found a huge bag that I had cleaned and set aside and forgotten about completely. So anyway, you're probably
gorgeous.
Probably won't be able to see a ton. But
amazing.
It is 3-ply. It was all spun long draw. I did find out exactly how many shocked bobbins I have because I spun all of this on my matchless long draw. I have 12, in case anybody's wondering. But that's between the matchless, the sidekick, and the Acreworks that I have. So it's all together. It's 12, which is good because I filled every single one of them. The last one had a little bit of space left, and then I applied them on the mini spinner because the bobbins are much bigger on the mini spinner. That is one.
Heck yeah, they have 8-ounce bobbins.
Yeah. So I have 7 skeins of this. I can't tell you what weight it is until I wash it because, like Laura said earlier, woolen will plump a little bit, and also when you swatch, it'll plump to fill any spaces.
Because it's got lots of air in it.
Right.
So the big difference between worsted spun yarn and woolen spun yarn, besides the prep, is woolen tends to have a lot of air to it, whereas worsted is kind of a little bit more dense. And individual fiber composition changes that a little bit, but overall, woolen has more of a halo to it, and it'll fill. It's already made of air, so it fills any empty spaces.
And if you think about how, like, the techniques that you use to spin each type, it kind of makes sense. So if you're spinning worsted, it's also called the inchworm technique, although there are variants of it, and you're squeezing all the air out as you're drafting backwards. Whereas when you are doing woolen or long draw, then you're usually only, some people use one hand to sort of help control twist, but you can also just use one hand to spin it, so you're not...
Totally use one hand from the fold and ate a sandwich with the other hand.
I did use one hand most of the time. I had one tricky bit of the fleece where I had to do control with one, pinching and releasing. But for the most part, and that was one of the huge appeals of spinning the cordell, was because it's a short enough staple and everything that I could do a long draw. And it went so much faster than a worsted spun would have for me. So I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. I'm definitely going to knit a sweater out of it. I got 1,461 yards of a 3-ply. Once I wash it, I expect it'll be at least Aran, possibly bulky. And I'm very happy with it. Very, very happy with it. So I'm stoked to swatch and see what happens.
Have you kind of thought about what you want to knit out of it?
No. I try not to get too ahead of myself, because I used to do that a lot, and then I would deal with the disappointment of not being able to do whatever X thing it was that I wanted to do. So I just wait until it's finished all the way that it needs to be, and I've swatched and I know whether or not I can do something. So
cool. So how many total yards did you have for Spinzilla?
I had 7,200 exactly on the nose. So
cool.
I thought I had only 7,004, but then I realized that if you wind your skein on a 2-yard warp and you get 50 turns, that's 100 yards, not 50 yards.
I'm a little bit worried about the rest of your counting.
No, I did. This was the last thing, and I was like just ready to call it a day. So.
Well, cool. That's a great amount.
Yeah. It's last year. I think I only got like 2,600, but we also didn't get the ply bonus last year.
Yeah, and you plied everything last year.
Yeah, almost.
I did not ply until after it was all over. So what did you learn this year from Spinzilla or what did you take away that you would do differently, do the same?
I discovered that while I enjoyed prepping the Romney fleece a lot more than I enjoyed prepping the Cordell fleece, I really enjoyed spinning the Cordell more because I could long draw, whereas the Romney is so long of a wool that it just really doesn't lend itself to doing that very well.
Yeah. I agree with that.
What else?
I think you should look for a Cordell fleece at Roundback.
I probably will. Or maybe a bond or something. I don't want to get into too fine. Like, I really don't have an aspiration of doing merino. Maybe BFL. We'll see.
Cool.
But, yeah, something like that.
I mean, if you want to split a fleece, I'm always down for it. Says the 5 fleece still in my garage.
I also discovered that I need to stop letting Laura talk me into doing Spinzilla. Because I'm not even going to pretend like it was my idea this year, because it was not.
You can just be a cheerleader next year.
Yeah, I might.
So, Mama Linneman and I were having a discussion yesterday about Spinzilla, because my mom and I hung out yesterday. It was lots of fun. And she came over and appraised my Spinzilla yardage. And I was talking to her about competition in general. And she's like, yeah, you're competitive. You're never going to be happy with what you do in Spinzilla. And to some degree, that's true. Like, I kind of wish I'd stayed up till 11 o'clock every night, but that would have not ended well for a 6th grader. Things that I took away from Spinzilla, I really like spinning from the folds, especially Shetland and Cordell. Like, that is awesome, and I really enjoyed that. And the South Down, that was super cool. I'm not going to prep a fleece again to spin for Spinzilla that has not been coated. That's stupid. And also, I should remember when Spinzilla is and not be surprised 2 days beforehand.
Yeah. we were at yarn school, and Laura's like, "Did you know Spinzilla starts Monday?" And I was like, "We just talked about this like 20 minutes ago."
Because I totally forgot, and I had a lot of stuff on the bobbins. There are a lot of bobbins floating around my house. Like, there's one here. I don't even know what that is. What is this? Hold on. That's a CVM fleece that I started to spin, so that's on 3 bobbins over here. My wool pierogi bats are still on bobbins back here. My less is more sweater spin is on 4 bobbins over there. And I have a bunch of assorted bobbins that just need to be plied, but that wasn't, like, my intent was to get them off before Spinzilla, but I really thought Spinzilla started a week later. Which is a shame, because I'm on fall break this week.
All week?
So that's, no, just yesterday and today.
Okay, that's what I thought. But still, that would have helped.
So that's why Mom and I hung out all day yesterday.
Yeah.
And I learned that my mother does not share her tools well, because I asked her if I could borrow her mini spinner for Spinzilla, and she told me no. Because she's got a, I actually just wanted the flyer, I didn't want the whole thing, and I told her she could have my flyer, and she started laughing at me. She's got the Woolly Winder flyer, and I wanted that for plying. I'm not a huge fan of the Woolly Winder overall, but for plying, and that's my own craziness. That's nothing to do with the product. When I spin super, super fine, I feel like the Woolly Winder is kind of grabbing it a little bit out of my hands. And
I don't think that you're alone, though. I think other people have mentioned that.
Yeah.
But it's really negligible unless you're spinning super fine.
Oh, yeah. Like, it does not matter unless you are spinning, like, when I did my 3-ply, that was 400 and some yards from 4 ounces. Like, that's when you can feel that when you're spinning those singles. It's nothing with plying. So I'm probably going to purchase a Woolly Winder flyer for my Hanson. For Spinzilla next year.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, that's something that I could have plied a lot more quickly if especially the woolen, because it collapses.
Yeah.
When you're plying,
you have to move it a lot faster.
Yeah, and you can't get as much on there because there's all that air.
True.
But if you have a Woolly Winder, it'll pack it for you. So
what a Woolly Winder does is these are Woolly Winder bobbins. I do have one for my Lendrum because it came with the wheel. They have these little gears, and that gear relates to, on the flyer, there is a little piece of equipment. So as the gear turns, the little keyhole that your yarn gets fed through goes up and down.
So that it's
which
evenly
is super
fed.
Clever. So it is evenly filling your bobbins. Like, this bobbin looks super even. This bobbin is what my bobbins usually look like.
Yeah.
So, it just depends on personal preference, for sure. But for plying, I found them super useful.
Yeah.
Or spinning thicker singles. But for, and I don't think I'd use a Woolly Winder to spin, like, the fleece of doom that's got all the veg matter in it, because I would be concerned with some of that veg matter getting into the parts and breaking it. But, I mean, we all have our own crazy. Mine is...
It's your flavor.
Woolly Winders. That's my flavor of crazy this week, Woolly Winders. But I want one, so we'll see. If I do Spinzilla next year, which I probably will, who am I kidding? Super competitive. Then we will go from there. We do have a question from Podam, Podam. And this is kind of, I brought this one back up because I just went to yarn school and I drove. And she says, I saw Laura's selfie on her way to SSK with the wheels safely buckled in the back seat. I wonder if this is how both of you always transport your wheels, or if any of your wheels are flat packed for easy carrying. So, I'm lazy. And even though I have 2 wheels that do collapse down, one is a Lendrum and one is a Sidekick, and they both have bags that they could be traveling in, I just buckle them in my back seat. I am a big fan of buckling items up, heavy items that can hit you in the back of the head.
I was there for that one.
So I'm like a big fan of buckling things in so that they do not fall on you. What you couldn't see in that picture is I also had my drum carter with me, and it was also buckled up in the front seat with a pillow on top of it, just in case, because that has little spiky bits. And I could think of nothing worse than being in a car accident, whether you are at fault or not, because accidents happen. That's the definition of the word accident. And taking a flyer to the back of the head. Like, that would be a terrible situation. So I am always, even though stuff flat packs, I am too lazy to flat pack it. But I will buckle it up, because I do not want to take a wheel to the back of the head. Or, with my Lendrum, sometimes I will just collapse it kind of folds down like this. I'll do that and put it in the trunk. Really, it's a space issue, too. It's how much space because when Leslie and I travel together, it's how much space do we have free. A lot of times the sidekicks go with us, and they can actually sit on the floorboard in the back.
Because the treadles fold up and the flyer folds down.
Fold up. But if you do it that way, then they can't be buckled up. But they're not. I can't see them jumping.
No.
Unless you flip. So, and if you flip your car, your wheels being buckled up are probably not, your priority at that point. So it's safe for the wheels. It's safe for you. I'm a big fan of being safe for you. Is there anything else that you want? I've also been in a plethora of car accidents. Is there anything else that you want to, like, things just happen.
Like sofas falling out of the back of trucks on the interstate.
We were not in an accident that time, though. We avoided that one.
This is why I always drive. Always.
Is there anything else that you needed to add to how we travel with our equipment?
No, like you. I mean, if I'm going to take one of my larger wheels, like the Sidekick or the Matchless, and the Matchless is actually too high to really comfortably get into the car because the Mother of All and the Maiden thing are so tall. You can make it work, but it's not easy. I don't
consider the Matchless a portable wheel. I know people have the carts for them, like you can buy a little cart on wheels that they go in, but I don't see them as, unless you have a car like the Honda Fit, which Mom and I had my next car will probably be a Honda Fit or CRV, just because we were discussing whether or not you could get a 30-inch Saxony style wheel from the back of those. So, we'll see. But these are the discussions my mom and I have as we're driving to Costco yesterday. Do you think you could get a 30-inch Saxony style wheel in the back of that car?
In the Fit, yes. In your car,
No, that's why I need a new car.
Because of your wheel.
my wheel that will someday be mine.
So we have a book review.
We do have a book review.
It is
totally off all topics.
Yes, it's Knockout Knits from Laura Nelkin, who was one of our SSK teachers this year, and is just cute as a button, and a really talented designer, and she does some really amazing things with beads as well. This was sent to us by Pottercraft for review.
And they actually lost mine, like it got lost, and so Laura sent me another one, because she's awesome.
Oh, Laura, just the person that wrote the book, no biggie.
Yeah. She's very sweet. So we do have a little bit of a bias.
Yes.
Let's just go out and say that because we do know Laura Nelkin personally. We met her at TNA a couple years ago, and we are big fans of her patterns. Leslie and I have both knit several of her designs in the past. So go into this knowing that we have a bias. That being said, it's a good thing that I had other things to do because there are like 4 things in here that I immediately wanted to cast on.
Yeah, there was... And I'll be honest, a lot of times when I get books for accessories, I can find things that I like, but I don't necessarily see myself knitting. But I see myself knitting several items out of this book.
So it starts out with notes on yarn and gauge, and there are a lot of tips and tricks sections.
Yes, but
different color, which I always appreciate.
Right. This is not a book where you can learn to knit. You need to at least understand the basics. You don't need to be an advanced, lace knitter or anything, but you need to know how to knit, purl, cast off, and increase and decrease.
There are hand-drawn illustrations to demonstrate some of the more unusual techniques in here. The very first pattern I love, and actually I could see knitting this for some of my teens and myself.
Oh, yeah. You could use really fun buttons.
Oh yeah, using up scraps and going through my button jar and really finding some good stuff. This is the Wave Cup. It calls for 12 yards of a DK weight. Like, how many little bits and bobs of extra hand spun 12 yards do I have? A ton.
Yeah.
Size 7 needles. Again, if you go to a show like Rhinebeck and you just want to pick up one button from Melissa Jean or some other awesome button people that are there, this is the perfect use for that. It does come in 2 sizes, which I always appreciate because I have big fat wrists.
I do too.
But if you do have a natural wool, it's going to stretch as well. And there are 2, like, there it is laid flat, which I also appreciate a picture of something laid flat so that I know what it actually looks like.
I like the Laxo hat,
which
is a men's hat, partially because that guy's kind of cute, but also it is a really cute pattern. It looks relatively simple, but it has some nice elongated stitches in it, and it looks cable-y without actually cabling. So I think that's a bonus.
I love the Folly Cloche.
I like that as well.
Which is done out of Drill Draper Hudson, which I just happen to have the skein of in that exact colorway. And it was sitting right next to me. But that is going to happen. I picked up that skein with Leslie over the summer. And I love that. It's a great looking hat. I love cloches. I'm not certain that they love me, but I love them. It's done in 3 different sizes, so there's lots of variety there. Uses a superwash worsted weight yarn. And I love that she says in the notes, like, it should fit snugly. It should not be loose. So and she talks about yarn choices. Like, if you want better success with the fit of this hat, use a superwash yarn. It's more elastic and will stretch better when you work the twist stitch of the brim. I love little notes like that. Like, that attention to detail is amazing. So
I like the gateway cuff. It's reminiscent of the one Laura just mentioned, but it does have a cool feature that I've not seen, although I'm not a cuff aficionado, so it could just be that I don't have enough experience there, but it's actually sewn shut, and it's knit loosely enough that you can slip it on and off, but it's sewn shut, so you don't have to worry about a closure. Or, like, one of my pet peeves with bracelets or anything is I work at a computer, so my hand has to be able to sit flat, so bracelets and watches tend to bother me. But this would not, because it has no closure that would interfere with me being able to put my wrist flat on the desk.
Cool. I really like the Las Cruces shawl. I also really like, just a note on the layout, I like how she's got the little notes about the inspiration for the design at the top. And then the whole first page is just notes and the skill level, materials, yarn use gauge. So the whole first page is a very nice, clean layout. And then typically next is a picture. And this uses around 600 yards. It would be great for a hand-spun gradient. Like, I'm thinking fiber optic hand-spun gradient, so this would be gorgeous. It's got drop stitches.
Which will make it go really quick.
That's how it's knit, with the arrows. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So different design, and a nice clean diagram so you can really see what it looks like.
I like the Juego cowl, which is knit with Elizabeth Lavold and Noro. I do like that it's got the contrast in there to help sort of break up the gradiating colors. I think that's a really nice effect. And it would knit up pretty quickly because it uses less than 500 total yards.
That one's super cute. So this book is divided into sections, and the whole second section is lace. I really like the Gyrus tam. Very pretty. Lots of patterns. Stitches. Again, this comes in this one uses fingering weight yarn, but again, it's got the nice layout. It talks about special stitches and notes, and it uses fingering weight yarn. So, and like 200 yards of fingering weight yarn. So if you have leftover half skeins, that would be perfect for that.
I like the Loco shawl, which is, she's got it down as an advanced item. It uses 900 yards of a lace weight, and it's got lace on both sides, so the right and the wrong side. But it is very delicate and airy, and it's got this beautiful center panel set off with stockinette and lace on the sides. And I just think it's very effortlessly beautiful, and it's got a very interesting edging with the
Yeah.
it looks
They
like
almost look like moth wings.
yeah, there you go. That's a good analogy.
I like on that one, the chart is also color coded for like the double decrease. It's a different color than the rest of the chart, so it's really clear, or double yarn over what is what. Then we get into some beaded stuff, which I think really is Laura's forte and what she's best known for.
I agree.
So some great tips and tricks about knitting with beads. This super little bulb cuff and necklace.
Yeah, I dig that.
Super cute. And a good way, again, to use up scraps, because it's literally 12 to 14 yards.
Yeah, and that's...
And then 43 for the necklace.
It's really... That is a point to really pay attention to, is you can have a finished object in a couple days. And quicker than that if you're proficient with beading. You know, beading will slow you down a little bit, but if you have any experience with it, it'll go a lot faster. I like the hibisco necklace. I think that it's light enough that you could wear it without it weighing you down, and you could take, you know, a treasured 20 or 30 yards of a leftover yarn and have a way to make it last a lot longer.
Love the cha-ching tam and mitts, and those are the cover mitts.
Yes, I love that pattern a lot.
And then the tam that matches them. Super cute. Great way of using a specialty yarn. When you do beading, you want to make sure that you use applied yarn, and she goes into stuff like that.
Right.
But a gorgeous way to use up some, like, merino silk is what she uses, but just really pretty.
The last thing I have tagged in here is the holly shawl. And I love how many things, like how much is in this shawl. It's got crossed stitches, dropped stitches, lace, beading, stockinettes sections, garter sections. There's a lot going on, but it doesn't look like, you know, a crazy lady shawl. Like, I still think it's got a lot of elegance to it. And with the beaded edging, it would really have a nice weight and sit nicely on your shoulders as well. And it's a great use of a gradient. This is a Freya hand paints in lace.
So overall, there are 23 different patterns in here for $23.
Yeah.
So it is $1 a pattern, which there is enough in here that I would make that I would definitely get this. It's also available as an ebook if you are into the ebook scene and would rather have this as an ebook. Mama Linneman actually bought this on her own.
Oh.
So she was looking through my preview copy and was like, I'm buying that book too. So just another side note that Mama Linneman definitely approves and is going to knit stuff in here as well. And my mom's more of a...
She does everything but knitting. She doesn't really knit a lot.
Yeah, she's more of an intermediate, beginner to intermediate level knitter. So the fact that she saw this and was like, "Oh, I want to do that." She's also doing Project Sweater Chest out of hand spun, which I think is hilarious.
That's wonderful.
I posted pictures of the swatch. She brought me swatches yesterday to look at.
Aw.
So,
hang on a second.
That is Knockout Knits.
What? Kobe, I'm very busy right now, okay? I'll come and find you when I'm done.
Was he off school yesterday?
Yes.
Fun. So that was Knockout Knits by Laura Nelkin. It retails for $23, and we thank you so much to the Pottercraft people because we probably were going to buy it.
Yeah, it's always nice when we don't have to, but it also, I mean, I think that it's worth it because we get to talk about it to the thousands of people that watch us every week. God knows why, and you know, maybe some of them will like it.
And with books, like, there's definitely some, like, technique books, like the Laura Neal book, which I'm reading, Sock Architecture.
Right, it's more of a reference book than a pattern book.
And this one is patterns and a bit of reference. So if you've never knit beads before, there is, like, beginner bead knitting in this one as well. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. What we are reading right now, I am on a kid's book kick. Shocker. I am reading The Great Green Heist. It is a Scholastic book fair selection. The book fair is coming October 30th to my school. and I'm in charge of it. And Scholastic is now doing this really cool thing, which I totally approve of. And they give you $90 credit, basically, just if you host a book fair, which is its own craziness. Like, I will not sleep for 2 weeks because it is craziness. Anyway, they will send you $90 worth of stuff, and they have like 3 different things. So one of the things is signage for outside because they want you to promote the book fair, and one of the things is a book fair book talk packet. So they send like 10 different books, and the intent is that you read them and then you can talk about them to the kids. And this was actually on my Amazon wish list already. So I was like, yes, it's coming. I'm really, really enjoying it. It is hilarious. If you have kids that are into the Diary of a Wimpy Kid thing and you want to move them on to something else, I would think that this would be, and they're middle school age, like 5th, 6th, 7th, this would be a good book for them. And in the book fair, it's only $6. So, the Scholastic editions are pretty cool. And most schools do the Scholastic book fair. So I'll have a lot of kids' books to talk about. I also, yesterday, went to Costco and I bought the new, he's the guy that was in the Muppets. Jason just published a book. So I got that one. I picked up that one. So I'll read that one after I get through my book fair selections and talking about that. What are you up to, reading-wise?
I'm on the 3rd book in the series that I've been reading for a couple weeks. The After the Ending series, which is post-apocalyptic, and it is called Out of Ashes. It's the After the Ending book number 3. I need to fix that in the show notes.
I got it.
And it's good. It's one of the calmer post-apocalyptic novels that I've read. So, but I'm up for, after this, I don't have anything queued. So if you guys have recommendations based on what I've told you guys about in the past, please put them in the episode thread. I love recommendations. So, also, I have a page on Goodreads where I've rated a bunch of stuff, so it can give you an idea of the stuff that I like. I am, you don't call me Les, on Goodreads.
Shaka! Alright, we have a giveaway to do.
We have a couple, don't we?
No, just the one. The Out of Eternity...
Oh, Eternity Ranch.
Eternity Ranch. There we go. Out of Eternity. Like, I'm adding random things to it. And that is yarn that Leslie has that was sent to her by the lovely
Tammy.
And we asked you favorite fall memories. Was that one?
Yes. And I don't know where I put the scheme. I'll probably put it away so it wouldn't get messed with by the cats. Alright, let me pull up my random number generator. Random.org.
And it is 2 through 181.
Okie dokie. 2 through 181. Remind me to talk about something in favorite things. Alright.
Okay.
So it is 2 through 181. I don't know that you can even see this since I'm not going to be able to move the screens. The number is 181.
That's awesome.
So whoever's the last person.
One's got the cutest little boy things. Alright. So 181 is Heather Broom.
Awesome.
So Heather, if you will send Leslie your information about her least favorite memory, she once peed her pants on a haunted hayride in middle school.
That would traumatize anybody, I think.
Oh, I love Heather. I got to meet her at Piper, Paula, the Prairie Piper.
Knitting Pipeline?
Yeah, her retreat. It was so much fun. So I got to meet Heather there. And I follow her on Instagram. She's got some great pictures that she posts. And her sons they run cross country and play lacrosse. So that's super fun. I cannot think of a better person to win that.
Congratulations, Heather. Send me a PM. It may not go out until next week because I'm leaving on Friday. But anyway, you'll get it. Speaking of Instagram, there is one person that I think everybody should follow because it will totally make you happier person.
TheKnitGirlls?
Yes. So there's this lady who lives in Australia, and I'm pretty sure it's Australia and not New Zealand. I'm almost positive it's Australia, because in my head it's hard for me to separate those two. But she sent me a Twitter pic, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, of a baby kangaroo, which are called Joeys, watching the TheKnitGirlls, and I was like, oh crap, I'm done. This is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I totally show my kids that at school all the time. I'm like, look, baby kangaroos watch me on a TV.
Yeah, I showed it to Michael. I was like, I am now famous. There are baby kangaroos. But anyway, so it made my day.
We totally photoshopped those pictures, by the way.
But, so she works on this, like, rescue,
she runs a rescue
farm,
for animals that have lost their
and
parents or have been left by the wayside.
So she doesn't just nurse Joeys, she also nurses and, like, bottle feeds them and has videos. Also baby wombats who require butt scratches after feeding. The cutest thing.
And Mr. Stick.
Yes, Mr. Stick, a very creepy owl. I'm sure there's more. Her name is Amanda Studdert. I'm going to put her in, and I hope she doesn't mind, because I'm totally putting it out there. I'm going to put her in the show notes.
Like, I have 250 new followers.
Yeah. She posts the cutest videos, like, usually every day.
Renee, Ellen, and Jessica follow her when we're in yarn school.
Yeah, it's always a happy day when I can watch a video of, 3 baby Joeys fighting for a bottle. It's so cute. Anyway, also, I wanted to say another favorite thing. With the new iOS, if you have an Apple device, if you have an Android device, you've already been using this for several years probably, because my tablet is an Android, and so you can download an app called SwiftKey. Swift, like, quickly.
I'm like mad about that one.
And basically, it took me a couple days to get used to it on the Android, but now it's so much faster, and it's really good at predicting what you're trying to say. And it also doesn't autocorrect your curse words into non-curse words. Like, it's like, you want to say the F word? Fine, here's the F word. Like, it doesn't change it to ducking every time.
You should stop texting people about ducks. I wouldn't do ducking.
But anyway, it's called SwiftKey, and so instead of, like, tap, 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 tap a keyboard, you drag your fingers across the letters, and it sounds weird, I know, and it took me a couple days to get used to it, but it's so much faster. So anyway, that's my PSA helpful app thing for the day.
My new favorite thing for the new iOS is the fact that you can send just voice text messages, basically. So you can just record yourself saying something. Or if you're litting me, you can record your cats talking and send them to each other, because really Pearl and Humberto are dating. But in real life, besides cat nonsense, because I am a crazy cat lady, I use it, like, my nieces will send messages sometimes, or I'll use it to send something, like, especially if you're saying something super sarcastic to someone.
and text just wouldn't get the nuances.
Yes, that tone across is perfect for that. So that's my favorite thing with the new iOS. We do have a Dream in Color giveaway. We have 2, actually. So you have something at your house.
Yes, which I don't know if I brought down or not.
Well, how about we do this? How about we do this one this week, and then do the other one next week?
That sounds like a plan.
So I have a skein of the Everlasting Sock in 9 plies, and this is the Damp Pillow colorway, for those of you who cry yourselves to sleep.
Oh, okay.
So, I have no idea where that colorway name came from, but now I'm kind of curious.
It sounds very dirty to me, but...
But anyway, this is Damp Pillow, and just go over to dreamincoloryarn.com, come back, tell us your favorite item that they sell, because right now my favorite item that they sell, which I wish they would sell in Everlasting, is they have Jilly, which is their lace and sock weight, but this is mostly sock weight, and the Great Pumpkin colorway, and it's super orange, and I'm not an orange person, but it's gorgeous, and I want it in Everlasting. Dreaming Color people. So make that happen. But you could win the skein of Damp Pillow.
We could talk to, what's her face? Jessie?
Yeah.
I cannot remember her rap name now, but she was at SSK the
Kit?
year before last.
Hip Little Kitten?
Hip Kitty. Little Hip Kitty. Little Hip
Yeah.
Kitty, we're talking to you.
Or I could just text Funky. So we know people who know people, but that's not going to get me my my D-list celebrityism is not going to work.
So,
Anyway, if you want to win this yarn, which is gorgeous, which I keep moving back and forth from the camera, just go over there, check out Dream in Color Yarns. They have some gorgeous yarn, and post your favorite in the thread. So we will do that. So thank you, Dream in Color, for sending both our review yarn and this our way. Other things that are going on in the group, because all giveaways are done in our Knit Girls group on Ravelry. There is an Alice, A-L-L-I-S, Cal, which I'm going to pull out mine and work on that this week. There's a Halloween Craft All the Things going on.
mm-hmm.
There is a Georgia on My Mind Cal going on. There is Project Sweater Chest.
Yep.
Which is a sweater knitting thing, and I am going to start swatching for a new sweater since I haven't finished my last sweater soon, so that I can participate in Project Sweater Chest, and Leslie's going to participate with her hand-spun fanciness.
Yep.
I have a tab in my queue for all the sweaters that I want for Project Sweater Chest, and we are doing that in conjunction with the Knit More Girls and also Susan B. Anderson.
Yep.
My sister has an awesome shop, and in it, let me open this right now because it is awesome. She added like 80s gear.
Yeah.
Because they were at an 80s con.
Yeah.
And so she added some Skeletor buttons and some cool postcards. If you have anyone, in addition to her knitting related items.
Mm-hmm.
Twist Fiber Studio is doing a Kickstarter. I told her I would mention it on the podcast, but she has already met it. But there are still different levels available.
For stretch goals.
Yeah, I'm sure there's stretch goals. So those are some things going on. Our Ravelry group is super awesome and super active.
Yep.
You should check out there. There's a chatter thread. There will be the contest thread, and there will be lots of cool people doing lots of cool things. SSK notifications went out this past week.
Yes. So if you didn't, whether you got in or not, whether you got in or whether you're on the wait list, and anybody that didn't get in got put on the wait list.
Unless you email us and tell us you want
right.
review.
And we've had a few who've said, well, I'm going to plan something else then, which is totally fine. I wouldn't be able to wait. But you should have gotten a notification either way. If you didn't, please PM me. I did have a couple of emails bounce. I think I've already talked to all of those people, but if you didn't get a notification, send me a PM on Ravelry and I'll take a look and see.
If you're interested in SSK and information about how we came about and all the behind-scenes things on SSK, Leslie published an article in the latest Fly magazine about SSK, so she is a published author, and you can find
super
that
fancy.
in Fly magazine. I was very impressed, and my parents think it is the coolest thing ever because one of their children has been published now.
I enjoyed writing the article. I just wish some of the pictures that I had sent made it in because I think it would have helped. But
space is at a premium. Those magazines.
Know.
And that's one of the things about getting once you like self-publishing versus publishing, having someone else publish your work is
you lose a little bit of that control, and that's fine. I still got paid. You know, I'm still a published author.
You're a published person now. So that's super cool. Don't brag on Leslie. She didn't even know I was going to do that because I didn't put in the show notes on this.
No.
So that's about it. I can't believe Humberto slept this long.
Do you remember when we started and you were like, oh, this won't take long, an hour and 15 minutes ago? Just, I told you I'd tell you, and now I'm going to tell you.
So Leslie has to go knit some ornaments because she's doing some ornaments.
I'm not knitting jack. I can't say because there's a surprise and the people that I'm going with. So there's several of us, there's like half a dozen of us that stay at this group of cabins near Rhinebeck, and I'm not allowed to say where they are because then you guys will take them all and then I won't have any place to stay. So anyway, there's like half a dozen of us, and we decided this year that we would Instead of, doing gifts or anything, we would just exchange handmade ornaments. So it doesn't have to be knit, just handmade. You can sew, you can weave, you can crochet, you can whittle wood, you can, whatever.
You should sew first. Are you going to sew something?
No. But I am down here with all my sewing stuff, so it was easy to look at. But I'm not knitting anything because I don't have that kind of time. I kept putting it off, thinking, I'll have time, and then yarn school happened, and then Spinzilla happened, and I'll leave for Rhinebeck in 3 days. So, less than 3 days. So, Rhinebeck, I will be there.
If you see her, stop her.
Yes, feel free to stop me. I do not know for sure.
Come say hi.
Yes, please stop me and say hello. I'm always happy to talk to people. Don't feel intimidated or whatever. I do not know whether I'll make the podcaster meetup. I'll try. But if I get caught up in something, I don't want to feel like I've disappointed anybody. I will try to make it. But if you see me, just stop me. I will not be offended at all. I think that's it.
I sent Leslie with a shopping list for me.
Very short one. Which I don't mind because I don't need anything. Nothing. I will probably bring home a fleece, maybe 2. And I'm looking for some little tools. I want to get a doffer for my Carter. And just a couple other little things. I'm sure I'll come home with some yarn or fiber, but I really don't. There's nothing that I need.
You need all the things.
No.
I was happy to spend 2.5 pounds because I came home from yarn school with 3.
I think I only came home with.
Evened out.
I think I came home with a pound. A pound is what
I'm missing a
No,
CIS.
2 pounds.
Darn it. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
All right, you guys have a lovely week. We will talk to you next week. We'll be a day late because I'll be at Rhinebeck. But we'll record again on Monday night. Go enter if you want to win the Dream in Color damp pillow. And we'll talk to you in a few days. Bye, y'all.